Yo, so today I'm going to be teaching you guys how I make simple emotional melodies for someone like Ian Dior. So I have this keyscape loaded up right now. It's the cinematic one, so it has a lot of reverb and it like fills up a ton of space. Sounds really nice. So I'm going to try to play a super duper simple melody that like has a lot of space in it. So it's not like a triad, like it's very like it takes up a lot of the spectrum. So I'm gonna mute my mic and then figure something out to play. So I think something like that is gonna sound really nice once we layer like arps and bells over it. So I'm gonna go ahead and go into tools and then dump the last 2 minutes of the stuff I've played. So I have all this, and I know the one that I liked the way it sounded was this last take. So I'm gonna delete everything else and then go ahead and drag that over. All right, so now that I have this in the piano roll, I'm gonna hit Control A, Shift Q to quantize it. I don't really care how realistic it sounds, because it's like, I don't know, it's not that important for these kind of melodies, at least for me. And then I'm gonna go everything and snap everything to the grid. So now I'm gonna go in and just use the slice tool to make the end of everything even, and then drag it out to where it should be playing. Alright, so this is going to be the base of the melody, so I'm going to do Control A again to select everything, hold Alt, and just drag across where the velocities are, so they're all even. And then I'm going to go in, select the bass notes, duplicate those down an octave, and then I'm going to just select everything again, and then I'm going to hold Shift and the arrows to see if there's a pitch that I like better, because I play everything in D sharp minor because it's the scale I know, but I know that it's always not the best sounding, so I'm gonna find something else. Alright, so F sharp minor sounds really nice. So I'm gonna go ahead, route this to 1 on the mixer track, then go into the sampler, D-click only 1, and then go into the Aeolian scale and just lay out the scale because I don't really know this one by heart. Alright, so I'm gonna cut the lows out of that real quick and then add a sub bass because I feel like that an acoustic bass wouldn't really work well for this kind of melody. So I'm gonna grab a one shot that I made in Serum. I really like this bass, it's pretty cool. And then I'm just gonna copy the bass notes, put a note at the end, Control L, and then put these up so it sounds good. So that's really nice so far, but as you can like hear, it's very empty and it sounds like you can like hear where the notes are supposed to go. So I'm gonna go in and fill in a bunch of high notes in different patterns. Alright, so that's going to be the first layer that I add, and then I'm probably going to do one more layer using specifically chromatic notes, the notes in the scale that are right next to each other. Those tend to give off a more emotional feeling, so I'm going to try and use a lot of those. Alright, so that's pretty much going to be the first melody. So now I'm going to bring back up the velocities and to Control A, Alt S to strum. Just strum it a little bit. And then do Alt R to randomize. And then bring the velocities down. And now I'm going to go back into Omnisphere and find some kind of like really ambient synth or a Rhodes piano. Alright, so I found this E piano and it's the one pop one. And I'm just going to go ahead and layer those bass chords. So I'm going to go back in here, just select the chords to Control C, and then go to that pattern and do Control V. And then I'm probably going to lower these down an octave. So now we already have a really full sounding melody. So now it's just about like adding little accents for like, now I'm going to go into bells and just pick one that's acoustic. And I'm just going to lay out a super simple melody with some grace notes in it. So that's a really nice melody to have in there. And then I think I'm going to grab one more sound. It's probably going to be some sort of pad, and then I'm going to put a shaper box on it so it really gives it a different feeling. So I'm going to go into pads and strings. Alright, I'm going to grab this bell signs, and then I'm going to turn up the glide. I remember when I first got Omnisphere, this was like my favorite pad, so I'm going to use it in this. And then just kind of follow the notes of the top melody. Alright, so those are going to be our, what, 5 different sounds. And now I'm just going to mix these together real quick and then do the arrangement. So I'll let you know how I mix this in a second. Alright, so I gave this a quick little mix. And I already showed what I did for the piano pretty much. But I just dipped out of the highs a little bit because I liked how it sounded when it was a lot deeper. And threw a little bit of reverb on it. Then on the Rhodes or the electronic piano or E piano or whatever, I cut the lows, boosted this high right here because that's where like a bell sound was coming through and I thought it sounded really nice, so I wanted to accentuate it a little bit more, and then drenched it in reverb, and then threw it in a stereo imager so it really just fills up all the background space. Then for the bell, I just put some reverb on it, and then on the gliding pad, I just boosted the highs and then cut the lows because there were some ugly frequencies down here. And then on the sub bass, just kept only the lows. So now I'm going to go here, do split by channel, select all these, put them on the playlist, hit C, and then slice it. And then duplicate this over 3 times, get rid of the bass in that part just so it's in the intro. And since this is a really simple melody, I want to reverse some of it as like a top line kind of. It's usually what I do for these kind of things. I don't know, I like the way it sounds. So I'm just going to kind of go through and get rid of some of the sounds. And I think for the reverse part, I'm going to use the Rhodes and the piano together. So I'm going to go ahead and record that little section. Then go in here and reverse it. And then do the same chopping thing that I've been doing a lot. I don't know why, but it just gives such a great effect. And especially on pianos, it sounds really good. But I'm going to use a little bit of a bigger chop this time. I don't really know why. I just think it'll work well. And since the melodies are identical, I can just chop one half of it and not have to do the other half. And I'm going to copy that over and then put it up an octave. And just put it down here so it's all nice and organized. And I want to use this little bit in the intro too. And then I think I'll get rid of the pad there. And then I'm going to click on this and route it to the mixer. And then EQ it and probably put some reverb and pancake. I'm going to lay out the stems and then record. Alright, so now that I have it up here, I mixed this super quietly